Is it on? All right, there we go. We're live.
Is this thing on?
It's Friday morning after a long week, everybody. Hello and welcome. I'm Marci Mowry, and with me today is Pam Metzger and One Eye Wanderz. And we're happy to have you join us here as we talk about the thing that's most near and dear to our heart, and that is Pennsylvania's state parks and state forests. We also appreciate you participating during this special day of giving, during the ExtraGive, which is with the single largest day of giving in the world, I believe. And it features nonprofits that support causes that might be near and dear to your heart. So extragive.org is the website, and in addition to the Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation. Let me go back. I forget how many different organizations there are, but there are quite a few. So it's a great day for supporting causes that are important to you. As we dive in, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them in the comment box. And if you aren't aware, we're with the Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation. Yes, let's get the brain working.
There's a logo up there in the corner.
Pam and Mike, let me give you an opportunity to introduce yourselves. Who wants to go first?
I guess Metzger comes alphabetically.
Oh, I can't hear you, Pam.
Can't hear me? Can you hear me, Mike?
I can.
It looks like Mike can, so it's just me.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm going to leave and come back. Maybe that'll solve the problem.
Yeah, we'll look for you. So in the meantime, I'll babble. I'm Pam Metzger, membership coordinator for PPFF. And I live in the Laurel Highlands of Pennsylvania, where it is gray and gloomy today, although not as cold as yesterday. So we'll go for it. I'm very near to Ohio Pile State Park by the Great Allegheny Passage. So Mike, let her rip.
Yeah, I'm Mike Teeter. I go by One Eye Wanderz on Instagram. I'm in the Bedford County area, so really close to Blue Knob State Park. I would say that that's my closest state park. But yeah, love our state parks, love our state forests, and I'm excited about today and everybody getting the chance to give to a foundation that does so much for our state.
We appreciate your support in so many ways. Mike is a previous award winner in our annual awards because of the volunteer time he gives. If there is an event somewhere that we need somebody to sit at a table and entertain people, then Mike is there, which is a very, very special and appreciated skill. I mean, there's nothing quite like spending the day in the hot sun talking to people, right?
It's fun. You share a shared interest with people and you get to have good conversation, and yeah, it's great.
Oh, good. My aunt just says she can hear us, so I don't know. Marci keeps popping in and out because she's having audio trouble, so who knows? It's Friday. Hi, Aunt Janie. We'll see you tomorrow. Oops, here's the text from. So, Mike, you did a bunch of. She's going to reboot, so we're going to get that. You did a bunch of events this summer. Cinema Honing's always a big one. I forget.
Yeah.
Also at Cider Fest.
I did. Yeah. Cinema Honing was the first Fork Fest, and then Prince Gallitzin was the Cider Fest, and Sizerville State Park was just their Fall Fest.
Oh, okay. I forgot about Sizerville. That's a sweet little park. I've only ever been there once.
It is, and if you have never went to the Fall Festival, I highly recommend it. They put on a really nice festival. They shut the road down that goes kind of back through the park into the campground, and it's growing every year. I want to say they've only done it for 3 years now, but I think they're getting to the point where they're probably questioning how much more space do we need and where do we put everybody. So it's, I guess, a good problem to have, but yeah, really, really cool festival.
Yeah, I like. Some people probably know that I do a weekly email called Take 5 Fridays with Pam. And I love when the October time rolls around and you start listing all the festivals. Like, maybe we'll have to send you to Chapman.
Yeah.
Another park where I've never been, but yeah, they've got a fest that's pretty big. And
yeah, I've had a few people talk about that, actually.
Is that right?
Yeah. And Chapman's cool because it's, kind of secluded in the Allegheny National Forest up there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Marci and I were supposed to do a bike ride from there a couple of years ago, I think from Chapman to Elk, but
Oh, cool.
it didn't come together. I don't remember what got in the way, but okay, she's coming back. We'll try again. Better?
Yeah, I think when I opened that other page, the ExtraGive page, it shut everything down.
Huh?
So we'll see what happens when it comes time to draw them.
Don't
So
do
what
that
did
again.
I miss?
We were just talking about festivals.
Ah, Mike, you attended quite a few and spoke to a lot of people.
Did, yeah. We were talking about Sizerville and how nice that one is, and it's newer, but it's starting to grow really large, and I think that's a really cool problem for them to have. They put on a nice festival, and Prince Gallitzin, if you haven't been to that apple cider festival, wow. Um, the you got to get there early, or you're going to be in traffic for a while. But it is absolutely crazy what that friends group does to put that on, and the amount of people that show up for that festival. Kudos to them for managing that every year. It's special, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to, having been to Prince Gallitzin a number of times, I'm trying to picture all of those roads around there.
Oh yeah. They do it down by the beach, and I think they've actually moved the parking area a little further out because that's just how many people they attract, and it's nothing to be in like a 20-minute lineup of cars to get in there, but it's a really big festival. They do a great job. There's so much to do, but yeah, that's one that has grown significantly. And then Cinnamahonings Festival is awesome as well. Obviously, you have the Wild Center, and it's all kind of built around that park office, and really cool. They have live music and a bunch of vendors, and yeah, pristine location.
Nice. And do you get any common questions? Do you find that you're asked the similar question at all locations, or is there a wide variety of questions that people approach you about?
There's a wide variety. I think a lot of people are interested in where they could hike. That's always a big question. Like, what hiking trails do you recommend in this area? Or a lot of questions about how to get to another state park. And that's almost every time somebody says, hey, how far is it to fill in the blank? And that's cool because it tells you that when they're in an area, if they've come from outside of that area, they want to travel elsewhere and go check out other parks. And that's a big question. But normally, the big thing is when they come up to the station, there's a map on the table, and I say, hey, do you have a favorite state park or forest that you've been to? And that's kind of where the conversation leads to. Then they can put a little arrow on it, and then at the end of the day, we like to see which one wins. Normally, home field advantage wins, but once in a while, you have an upset.
Always.
Yeah, once in a while, though, you will have an upset, but it is cool to see what state parks and what state forests are people's favorite. And then they obviously go into the story of why they love those places and what it means to them, and growing up in certain areas and having like fond memories of going there as a kid. And it usually leads into more parks, and then the conversation begins, and then more people join in, and then sometimes you have a full conversation with people you've never met all about state parks and forests. So it's really
But
fun.
I think that's one of the beauty of our state parks is they bring us all together. If
Yeah.
we can put aside our differences for this passion that we share for these
Yep.
places and our state forests as well.
Yep.
Not just our parks. I don't want to forget our forests because they also hold a special place in people's heart. I was actually
Yeah,
at
they
physical
do.
therapy yesterday, and this guy was talking about all the years he's been going up to Cherry Springs and how they have a cabin in Susquehannock State Forest and how meaningful it is to him. And
Yeah. Yeah.
50 years, that's been his place that he goes multiple times a year.
That's cool. Yeah, you get a lot of that, and it's neat because our state parks and forests are very unique. They're not just green spaces; they all have a special touch of something that people like. So it's neat to hear them break that down and say like, "Oh, I go to Black Shannon because I love boardwalk trails," or "I go to Cook Forest because I like huge trees." Like there's just so much draw to those places, and it's neat to unpack people's memories of when they were growing up and like what resonates with them, and then to hear their stories about why they love those places so much.
Well, Mike, do you have a favorite memory of visiting a state park or state forest?
Yeah, I mean, we went to Cook Forest a lot as a kid, so that really kind of resonated in me as a state park that I kind of fell in love with early on. But I actually think the one that really made me fall in love with nature was Hills Creek up by Mansfield. We used to go camping there as well, and it was like one particular fall I had just have vivid memories of like loving the color of the trees and loving sitting by the lake and hiking on the trails. And I think it was at that moment at Hills Creek where I said, you know what, this is special, and I think for the rest of my life I want to align myself with protecting parks and forests and wild places that people can visit, because I think it's important mentally that we connect ourselves with that again.
Wow, I love that story. How about you, Pam?
Well, I love Ohio Pile being so close by, and it's funny. Growing up, I lived here in the Somerset area, and we used to go to a park, and little kid, I don't know, but my family always referred to it as Trent, and like as then an adult, come back to Pennsylvania, I'm like, Trent, where in the world is Trent State Park? We don't have a Trent State Park. And I was at Laurel Hill one day and I heard that somebody refer to it as Trent. And it was like this, like, oh my God, we used to come here. And then I found the picnic area. It's one of Bill's now favorite picnic areas where we go to get away from where we used to always go.
Oh, I love it.
Dopey little kid. And I was like, I don't know. We're going to have a family reunion at Trent. I'm like, okay, wherever the heck that is. I am at least teachable.
Well, and when you're a kid, you're not really like charged with remembering those details. Like,
Right. Get in the car and be quiet.
right.
Yep.
I think for me, it was my family. We had a cabin right on the edge of the Coahana Wild area in Elk State Forest, and so we'd always go to Cinemahoning. So when I flip through photo albums from when I was a kid, I have pictures of me of different ages and my siblings, like in the 70s in our gauze shirts standing on the dam, 2 years
Nice.
later, when I have these bright red canvas Converse All-Star sneakers where all it looks like is my shoe going for miles. And my siblings have agreed to recreate some of the pictures. So we're in the market for some gauze shirts. If anybody has any gauze plaid shirts,
Nice.
yeah. But a lot of memories and witnessing the changes, because when we first started going up there, the deer population wasn't very big. There were no elk. So just watching things evolve, and the stream we used to swim in. When I was a kid, I thought it was cool because there was nothing in it you had to worry about, and then you realize that it was a dead stream, and that same
Yep.
stream, the Bennett's Branch, has a lot wild, aquatic critters because of people caring for it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of what kind of put me in the path of like I want to do this. I want to protect these assets.
It's cool.
Mike,
Yeah,
one of the things.
they have I guess they have otters down by the dam in Cinemahoning, which was something that I did not know. But in the park office, they showed me some pictures, and I was like, "That's incredible."
Fun to see.
Yeah.
Mike, you mentioned about the colors, and it makes me think last year at this time, we worked with the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources and the PA Wild Center to put color correcting viewfinders into 9 state parks. And this year, we've been working with Black Mushannon State Park and Ohio and Oil Creek State Park to put color correcting goggles into the park where visitors can borrow them if they are colorblind, so they can have that oh wow experience that kind of put you on your trajectory of
Yeah.
wanting to be in nature and align yourself with conservation. So we're really excited and hope to have them in, and probably not for this fall, they'll be there, but even spring colors. I mean, the difference
Yeah.
between having them and not is depending on your level of color blindness is pretty dramatic. So we're pretty excited about that.
That's super cool. Yeah. That's
Oh, Mike,
probably an
whenever you
interesting
mention,
moment to see a reaction of like somebody looking through that the first time. It's probably really cool.
Yeah.
whenever you mention Hills Creek and the color, it reminded me of this. This is one of my all-time favorite photos, and I know that
It's
it's not.
beautiful.
I know it's not the fall colors, but the park staff took this one, and I snagged it from their Facebook page a couple of years ago, and it's stunning to me. So
Yeah, it is. That's awesome.
I used to be a big fan of winter. I don't know what happened.
Same.
Maybe
I
you
think
can
about a
be
year
saying
ago,
it.
I think about a year ago, I decided that maybe I don't like it as much anymore. Up till then, I was fine.
It's like a switch gets flipped. It's like, oh,
Yep.
wow, I love winter. And then like, oh, no, it's
Yep.
winter.
You know what I think it is we had different winters when we were younger. I mean, we had winters with snow where you can go out and you could
Hmm.
sled and cross country ski and
Yeah.
snowshoe. And we have the cold, but in the areas where we live, we don't necessarily have all those other amenities that make winter fun.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
Like that
yeah,
Hills Creek shot. That's what Somerset County used to look like when I was a kid. That was what
Yeah.
winters were like when I was a kid. And yeah, they're just not that anymore. So that's a good
yeah.
point.
So maybe we'll have some good snow this year, and then we can go back and say, I love winter because I get to do all these amazing things.
Yep. That would be awesome.
So,
Yeah, it's
Mike,
really
tell us.
funny. Here last year, Ohio Pile does Winterfest every year, like in the middle of January. And last year, it was so snowy and cold here. It was like, Winterfest is going to be great this year. And literally 3 days before the festival, it rained and melted everything. It's like, you have got to be kidding me. It was a guarantee. This is the year that we are going to have the best Winterfest in decades. And I'm like, nope, done.
Yeah. The rain got it.
I don't know if you can pull a picture up, Pam, but the one picture that pops into my mind about Winterfest is people riding down the mountain in a whitewater raft.
I think I can find that, but yeah.
And that makes me think. I mean, I don't know if any of you have seen it or any of the viewers have seen it. The the current ad for Amazon where there are three older women sitting on a bench watching these children sled,
Oh,
and they go and then they order these little seat cushions to put into the sleds, and then you see them going down the hill. And one time I saw the extended version, and it flashes back to them in their childhood riding down the hill, and it was so heartwarming. And I think that we have these opportunities throughout our lifespan, but sometimes we need just a little bit of assistance. Maybe we need some
Yep.
cushions, maybe we need some trekking poles. And that's one of the things we're trying to do. We have an AARP grant right now to get some of that loaner equipment out into parks and forests so that if that is preventing you from participating, there it is. Isn't that a great shot?
That's great. That's my kind of
Whee!
sled.
anyway.
So, Mike, talk to us a little bit about, your One Eye Wanderz. What are you up to, and how can people follow your journey and, maybe get some inside tips or see some places that might inspire them to get out on a trail themselves?
Yeah, One Eye Wanderz is on Instagram, spelled the same way as my name down here. But yeah, it really started out by just wanting to share visual photos with people of Pennsylvania and other areas. Primarily, it's Pennsylvania pictures. I do some travel as well, but a lot of backpacking, a lot of hiking, and a lot of state parks, state forests, and just really putting out like the beautiful things that our state has to offer. I think sometimes we overlook how much vast amount of forest land that we have in the state. I mean, it's more than half is forested, so we don't get called Penn's Woods for no reason. We have a lot of it, and you can find so many beautiful things in the forest. So I just it was really just a mission a few years ago to just share those experiences with other people and get them excited about going and seeing something.
Excellent.
Yeah,
And
sure.
you're on Instagram?
Yep, Instagram. Yeah, that's where you will find it. I don't really do any TikTok or anything like that with One Eye. Just basically Instagram.
And I'm going to put in the chat box, you and your friend Dapper
Dapper.
joined us in our podcast studio,
Yeah.
Think Outside podcast, and talked a little bit about your adventures. And I think one of my big takeaways from that conversation was not to feel that you can't participate because you don't have any fancy gear.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that's huge. I mean, outdoor recreation doesn't have to be hiking 17 miles into the middle of a forest. And I mean, you can if you're the type of individual who doesn't like to do that but still wants to experience nature, just pull the car over and just sit down next to a river somewhere. I mean, it's the same experience, it's the same feeling, and oftentimes it's just as beautiful. But yeah, and like gear's expensive, but I don't think you necessarily have to have the greatest gear to go out and enjoy nature. It's we have so much of it readily available around us that it's very accessible, and yeah, I think it's really important mentally that we connect ourselves with nature and kind of just get away from life for a little while and like get back to those roots of just sitting by the water or taking a short walk in the woods. Like it's amazing what it does for you, and it doesn't have to be like in the middle of nowhere. We have so many options to do that.
Yeah, and interestingly, in the state comprehensive outdoor rec plan, which the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources recently completed, they did a survey and they found that 81% of the people listed mental health benefits as the number one reason they
Yeah.
give for spending time in the outdoors.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, I think it's maybe the most important thing. And I think the way you feel after spending even a day in nature, it definitely calms your entire system. It's just, humans have a attachment to wild places, and it helps so much.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had to laugh when you said, Mike, about just pull the car over. Last year, I was coming back from our board retreat, which was up in the wilds, and I was driving down the road, and I passed the sign that said Queehana Wild Area, and I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I made it to the Queehana, and I pulled over and said, here I am.
Yeah.
I'm coming back. But yeah, that was my first ever visit to what is one of the most isolated and wonderful places in the state. And yeah,
Oh
we
yeah.
Yeah.
made it.
Yeah.
Yay. I see somebody, Paul put a comment in the chat box. It would be great if Ullebool State Park could establish a Norwegian or Scandinavian festival. Huge potential based on the celebrity status of Ullebool among Norwegians and the fascinating story in Potter County. Love that idea, Paul.
Yeah.
We do have a Friends of Ullebool State Park, so we'll be sure to share that with them because a lot of the Friends groups, there are now 48 of them across the Commonwealth. A lot of them do host festivals and events. It's one way to bring people in and help them familiarize themselves with a place, and so we'll share that with that group there. So
That's a great
That
idea.
would be awesome.
yeah.
Sorry, Mary.
You just add it to your workload, but love the idea.
I do love the idea.
So Pam, you have some things on your bucket list to see.
Oh yeah, I do. I am working through my passport, and Mike, you've seen them all, right?
I haven't.
Really?
Nope.
Okay.
I am missing a handful in the eastern portion of the state.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
come on out.
where my missing ones are, up in the northeast and the southeast, and
Yep.
that mid-northern part, Chapman, Elk, those up there. I haven't been there yet, but I've got pretty much all the other ones through. And some of them are just like that. I've been to the Queehana.
Yeah,
They're not
us
always-
Western Pennsylvanians have a hard time getting east.
Yeah.
Well, to that end, we'll share with the viewers is that we will be adding our 125th park within the next month or two, which will be Laurel Caverns. It'll be the first a subterranean park in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Awesome.
It is has I think what 4 miles of underground trails. The caverns themselves close in the winter because it's also a bat hibernacula. But we're pretty excited to have this as part of our park and forest system, your park and forest system. So, keep an eye on DCNR's website and our website and social media as we'll share when things are happening and when this is added. And we're also thinking about what that passport stamp should be. So if you have thoughts, feel free to put them in the chat box or to send us an email, because we need to get the passport stamp made so that all of those folks who've seen them all and want to add that one, that's it's ready for them when the gates are open.
Floodgates? No.
Yeah, the
Caverns and
gates to the
floods.
cavern.
No.
And Paul, we agree. Mary Hurst is great. She's one of our board members and a longtime friend, and very active in two friends groups. So she's another one of those super volunteers.
Yeah. Or glutton for punishment, whichever way you look at it. Yeah,
Well, we're coming up. I think we had budgeted like a half an hour, so I'd love Pam and Mike for you to share any insight that you have that might be helpful for people, seeking to visit parks or forests, or maybe new to spending time in the outdoors. What moves your heart that you want to share?
all I could say is just get out there and do it, like the folks at Nike say. It just there's even if it is just pulling the car over as you're driving somewhere else. I know that one of Marci's favorite things to do when she's on 80 is to stop up there at SB Elliott and take a break. It's just important to take a break. And I'm lucky. I go out the door and cross a bridge, and I'm essentially in Ohio Pile property. So my daily walk can be in what is part of Ohio Pile, and it's a very good thing. So just get out there and make it happen.
Yeah, I would second that. You have to go out and experience it. And I think one of the things that gets said quite often whenever I'm talking to people is, "Well, I'm not really an outdoorsy type of person." And my question is, you sure about that? You might want to give it a try. And oftentimes, more times than not, people go out there and are like, "This is beautiful. I had no idea
I had no idea.
it was like this." Yep. And that's where it begins. And I think we all have a connection to it, whether we think we do or not. And you just have to go out and experience it. And oftentimes, if you grew up and that wasn't something that you did,
Right.
not something that's on your radar, but it should be. You should put it on the radar, try it out, and feel more than anything the difference that it makes.
Amen.
Yeah, and I'll build on that. We just did a barriers workshop to look at what prevents people from participating, and lack of knowledge is one of those. They don't know where places are, so there are resources to help you find not just your state parks and state forests, but there's also close to 7,000 community parks across the state. There are rail trails, there are conservancy properties, so there is probably something close to you. There's Good for You, I think, is the website. I'm trying to think of what the website is that lists all the community parks. Maybe we can find that while I'm chatting and put it into the chat box. And then, there's DCNR's website. And then we also have in the About Us section of our website, different tools and tips, like maybe you like history, so here's where you can go and also catch some history, because you can approach visiting a park or forest from so many different perspectives: artistic endeavors, hiking, biking, kayaking. Maybe you're an extreme kayaker and want to run waterfalls legally. Not encouraging any road behavior. So don't think that they don't have what you need, because there are lots of things that are available in these places. And if you're intimidated, you can look at the events page on the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources website to see if there's an event like the ones Mike was talking about that'll help you, maybe become familiar with a place and give you people that you can talk to. Or in our most recent podcast, where Jess Myers was visiting during off seasons to the parks, she talked a lot about stopping in the office and asking the people that work there what they recommend. And that's always we always recommend either visiting the office or the information board when you're new to a park or a forest to get the lay of the land and pick up a map and, become familiar. If there's any notices or whatever. So don't be intimidated, get out there and have fun with it. Pam, can you put a link to the About Us page of our website too? And then, while she does that, Mike, if you want to chat for a minute, I am going to hopefully not kick myself out again. I'm going to pull up that list so we can see.
Sure. Yeah. I will say, if you are new to getting outdoors and you're not a hiker or you're not somebody who wants to physically go out, you can drive on a state forest road. UCNR maintains them absolutely amazingly. Compared to other states, our forest roads are immaculate. Take a drive and, you're in the comfort of your own vehicle and you kind of still get to have that experience of just seeing things. And, one road leads to another and to another. And before you know it, you might completely fall in love with it and own every purple lizard map that gets made. And that's where it leads to.
Which you can buy on our website.
What is the name of that? There's, is it up in the Bucktail? There's one of the most drop dead gorgeous vistas in the entire state is right there along the road.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. The name of it now to save my life. But...
Right off of a forest road, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of it as well. It's like above Cinnamahoney up on that mountain.
Yeah. Like 1,000 Mile or
Yeah,
that's
you're close to something like that. Yeah. But it is really nice. Yeah, that's that. And a lot of the state forest road have vistas that you can see over and look at Pennsylvania in a different way. And they also have camp spots. You can state forest camp and you don't even have to leave the comfort of your vehicle if you don't want to.
Yes, but you do need to reserve online, so make sure you do that.
Yes.
Okay, Mike, if you could pick a number between 1 and 9, we are going to draw a name for those who donated during the time period of 8 to 9.
All right, let's go with number 9. All the way to the end.
That would be Miss Christine Molsky.
Well,
okay.
I mean, I think that might be good for me. I don't know. Or if you want another one, we can go.
No.
She gets a passport and a wooden magnet from Ohio Pile. So, yay. Yay, Tina.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, Mike, for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you, audience, for joining us as well. If at any point you ever have a question, feel free to post to our social media or, visit our website. We might have the answer there, but you can also, link to us through our website. And we're here to answer your questions, maybe connect you to volunteer opportunities if you're interested, or point you to resources that will improve your experience in the outdoors. So hopefully we have some time this weekend to get
at 2:30. You and I will be back here at 2:30.
Yes, we will be back here at 2:30 with Jess Lee, who will be talking about her time as a thru hiker on the Appalachian Trail and some tips for that, and also bringing a perspective of some of the questions we get is, I'm female and I'm in the outdoors and I'm concerned. So talking about some of those concerns you might have as a woman in the outdoors. So,
super.
Excellent.
Thanks, Mike.
Excellent.
Thanks, Marci.
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your day, Mike. Have some fun.
Thank you.